The road ahead, it twists and turns, and the sun beats down and it burns. But I keep on pushing through. And every step quicker than the last, my feet tread down.
Okay, it's June the 13th. It's a Thursday. I'm way behind schedule, but I'm going to catch up. And so I've double socked. I've walked around. They feel pretty good. I'm eating breakfast, and you know, I'm trying to eat a lot more than I normally do. I can tell you, I'm losing weight at too quick of a rate, and so I'm still chubby, but you know, I'm not near as chubby as I was when I started this trip. And so I'm gonna get out, and you know, right shortly after I get going, I'm gonna cross the Loop River. Crossing rivers was a huge big thing for the pioneers, because you know, you couldn't just drive up there and drive the wagon across. A lot of times you had to find a very specific place that you could cross. It had to have a bottom that was solid enough it would support the little narrow wagon wheels. But also it sometimes took, you know, a day or better of a bunch of people with shovels knocking down the bank on both sides so that you could you know, get the wagons down to the water, get them across the water, then get them back up the other side. And if it was too steep, the oxen couldn't pull the wagons back up the other side, and they'd have to unhook a team and double team and triple team and stuff like that to pull the wagons up. And if the wagons got stuck, that ended up being a big nightmare. Plus, you know, if the water was up any at all and was flowing very swift, this caused a lot of problems in that the wagons could tip over, and you know, people lose all of their possessions and stuff like that. And so anyway, I'm going to cross the Loop River. This is one of the places where they crossed it at, was at Columbus. The other place was at Genoa. And once I get across, the trail kind of drops back down toward the Platte and follows along there. And so anyhow, I'll post more. Okay, I'm starting hiking. I goofed around a little bit on getting off, but it's still before 7, so gonna hit the road here and walk on out of Columbus. The foot, I can tell it's there, but I'm just gonna kind of limp and not put a lot of outside pressure on that as much as I can. And now that I know I need to baby it a little bit, you know, I can take care of it. I love it when truck drivers like to honk at you. I'm coming up on a place here, and I'm glad we don't have these in Odessa, because they would be responsible for a lot of paycheck. But this place is called Runza, and they may have handmade ice cream sandwiches and Runza sandwiches. And you know, the Midwest, I figured out one of the things they kind of go in for a lot more than I think we do in Texas is they are big on soft serve ice cream. You can get soft serve ice cream in convenience stores and stuff. And anyway, this is Runza, and it's a really good restaurant if you're up in Columbus. I don't know, I haven't seen any anywhere else, but I bet they exist in other places. And they've got this really neat pretzel bread sandwich and a handmade ice cream sandwich. So I'll get back with you later. Okay, I'm crossing the Loop River, and I don't know if this will show up if I point the camera at it, but if you look down here, you can see a levee. And these levees are along a lot of the rivers in this area, and what they're for, this allows man to settle in places man maybe shouldn't, like down in floodplains of large rivers. and possibly be safe from all but the really bad floods. The Army Corps of Engineers has spent a ton of money improving these levees and stuff, and still every time there's huge floods it washes them out. If you look down, you'll see that the Loop River bottom is primarily sand, which a lot of the river bottoms in this area are. This caused the pioneers no end of grief because, you know, sand, if you even try to drive in it with modern flotation tires and stuff, you bog down, and especially crossing it in water gave a quicksand effect that would suck their wagons down and mire them hopelessly in the river. Now, when you get on up here, I was actually quite terrified how I was going to cross this, and then I noticed that on the new side of the bridge there's a pedestrian walkway, because the old side of the bridge is a big trestle bridge that had no room for walking whatsoever. I was looking at that going, I can't cross that big old thing, I'll get killed. But hitting here where this truck gets by, see, that's the old trestle bridge right there. And as you can see, this is a pretty good river. These are a lot bigger than most of our rivers in Texas. And so, you know, I don't guess I had really ever considered, when they're talking about crossing some of these big rivers, just what a challenge they are. This thing has been flooding, but it's not flooded right now. This is actually below normal stage, and it's gone down some. If we get a bunch more rain, it may flood again. Evidently flooding is pretty common along these rivers in the Midwest. So anyway, check back with you later. Hey, I was just talking to a guy named Billy that along the side of the road here, and anyway, he was telling me that this road had from 6 to 8 feet of water running across it just this winter, and that he owned a gas station I passed a ways back that was all closed and being gutted. And anyway, he said that the water was actually breaking over the top of the gas station, bent the pumps all over flat to the ground and stuff like that. And so he's having to replace everything. And I had taken some pictures, I'll put the pictures in one of the videos, of one of those big circular sprinkler systems that had corn stalks stuck up on the top of the thing. In other words, that entire circular sprinkler system had been underwater. And it's amazing. And then, you know, how much flood that would have to be. But, you know, just being from Odessa, I don't even have a concept of that much rain and stuff. It's just, that's unbelievable. And so, I'll check back. Okay. I've kind of figured out that my limit seems to be about 5 hours. I did real well for the first 5 hours, got about 15 miles in, and I'm not doing well since. I walk about 30 minutes, then the pain just gets so intense I can barely stand it. But I can sit for about 20 minutes and then it subsides, and I can go another 30 minutes. And so it's slow going, but I'm still plowing along here. It's interesting. I've walked past so much corn at this point, it's unbelievable. And you know, I've seen a lot of flood damage and stuff like that, and you know, I'm just hiking along here, and I don't know, I'm almost to Silver City, and I think I'm gonna go a little bit past Silver City, and then I'll find some, you know, flat spot on the side of the road, or if I can go far enough, I'm gonna hit this place called the Mormon Trails State Mormon Trails State Trailside Park or something like that. it's got a weird name. But anyway, I'll check back with you. Okay, so I've been walking around today, and the last half of it was just in blinding pain, and so I was just walking along there, and the only thing I could think of to take my mind off of it is I was going over all the theories that I know about polynomials and trying to decide which one of them would allow me to show that a number, that given any number x is transcendental. That's kind of a weird thing in mathematics. We don't have a proof for, if you give me a number, I can do a little tricky to it and say that's a transcendental number. And what a transcendental number is, that's a number that if you've given any non-zero polynomial, it can't be a root to it. And so the problem is it's hard to exhaustively check all polynomials on that. So you have to get in there and do some theory of it. And I was walking along there trying to think about how I could just take a number and say, I have a polynomial of blah blah. Blah blah cannot be a root to any polynomial with whole numbers. I don't know if it has to have whole number coefficients. I guess it does. It wouldn't really make any sense if you started using transcendentals as the coefficients in the polynomial. That you could get a transcendental root that way, I think. Yeah, you could. But anyway, and so I'm going to have to think about this some more, but it did take my mind off the pain. Okay, I hope this is clear and understandable because I've lost the windsock off my mic. I'm in a place I didn't expect to be today. I'm back in Omaha. Scott came and got me yesterday and kind of rescued me. I was laboring along there, and I can tell you this foot is odd. I made the first 15 miles in about a little over 6 hours yesterday, which I thought I'm good. As long as I know what's wrong, I can kind of lean a little bit away from it, and I was doing real well. And just like the previous days, once I hit about 5-6 hours of hiking, the pain kicked in, and it just becomes almost blinding. I was trying to think of how you can prove a number's transcendental and stuff like this, and all kinds of stuff to take my mind off of the just sheer blinding pain. And so Scott picked me up and brought me back to Omaha, and I'm kind of evaluating whether to pull the plug on this thing or push on, and I think I've about decided to push on. But he's going to drop me off at Kearney, which was kind of the goal for this weekend anyhow. That's where I was going to go to church. It's raining, by the way, which it does a lot of. And I don't know, I figure I'm going to take it nice and slow. I'm going to push. If I don't make it, I would rather fail in Wyoming than I had in Nebraska and stuff. And I've got the rest of the summer. If I have to take some short days and not walk but 15-18 miles, I am getting lighter on the feet. I was about 245 when I left Odessa, and I know you can't compare scales to scales, but you can kind of get a general how much you've lost. And on Scott's scales, I'm weighing 225, so I've probably lost about 20 pounds just off of me. And I just, something tells me I just can't quit yet. And I know I'm risking further damaging that foot, but I'm gonna give it a little bit of a try here, partly because I'm pretty hard-headed, and I know that's a lot of this, maybe the pride factor kicking in, me refusing to recognize that I've gotten old and that this is hard to do when you're old. But I don't have to start hiking again until Monday, and I'm probably not going to make another video until Monday. I might, but I'm not gonna do a bunch of me sitting around resting and making excuses and stuff, because I can tell you I feel pretty weak from this, and I was pretty down in the dumps yesterday, and I'm not gonna let myself get down. It's hard though when you can do this. You've done it, this many miles and stuff before, and everything, and it's just this foot, and that's all it is. And I'll see where I'm at and evaluate as I go. If I have to pull the plug, it doesn't matter if I get closer to Scotts Bluff to do it, and stuff. And so that's currently the plan. And so I'll keep you updated as to how far I'm going, when I'm going, and when I'm moving again. And I love all of y'all, and keep following.